Did you know there are renewable sources of heat we can use for energy beneath our feet? In this month's edition of Shifting Seasons, Chief Meteorologist John Carroll goes in depth about geothermal energy. How does it work? How can we use it? And most importantly, can this source of energy be an option for the future of Central Oregon?
Renewable energy is a clean, alternative way to generate electricity. The most common forms of renewable energy are hydropower, solar, wind, and geothermal energy. Now, hydropower energy is generated by using the movement of water. Wind energy is very prominent, with thousands of wind farms popping up all across the world, and solar energy is one of the fastest growing forms of renewable energy. Still not as popular as wind energy, but with new technologies surrounding the efficient use of solar energy, it's becoming much more popular. But an interesting form of renewable energy that's being explored aggressively is the use of the Earth's own heat to generate electricity. It's called geothermal energy. To find out just what geothermal energy is, I asked Dr. Brian Tadich, Associate Professor at Oregon State University.
So in many geothermal systems, there's a natural aquifer that exists underground. So you can think of like a Yellowstone hotspot like hydrothermal system, but it's just flowing through the rock naturally. And we can tap into that reservoir and essentially pull the hot water out of the reservoir and generate steam and put cold water back into the reservoir.
Iceland is a global leader in geothermal energy. They tap into the heat energy from under the ground, which provides heat for their homes and the ability to generate electricity.
So in Iceland, one of the big advantages they have is there's a lot of magma relatively close to the surface. So the ground is quite hot, pretty shallow beneath their feet. And so they're able to tap into quite hot geothermal reservoirs pretty much anywhere in Iceland, or a lot of places in Iceland, certainly. But they run the same sort of process. They're putting pipes in the ground, bringing that water close to the magmatic heat source, and then bringing the hot water back up to drive steam turbines.
Locally, Klamath Falls sits on a geothermal hotspot and uses an underground heat source to heat the Oregon Institute of Technology and some other buildings in the town. And it's currently modernizing their facility in an effort to become more efficient. But to tap into the Earth's energy the way that Klamath Falls does, you have to be close to the heat source. But that may be changing. For several years in southern Deschutes County, a revolutionary form of geothermal heat energy extraction is being developed: enhanced geothermal systems. It's called the Newberry Project, and this is how it should work.
Enhanced geothermal is typically used where we want to extract heat quite deep down in very hot rock, where the rock really doesn't have a lot of space for water to flow through it. And so the enhanced geothermal process breaks up that rock some, creates a path for water to move from one well to the other. And then as we pass water through that hot rock, we extract heat from the rock, and that very hot water then comes back up to the surface, and we use it to drive steam turbines to generate electricity.
But are there any concerns about increased seismic activity?
So certainly people will sometimes express concerns about the seismic hazard that geothermal exploration or geothermal energy might pose. But what I can say is that it's regulated by independent third parties. Okay. So for example, the USGS has the Cascade Volcano Observatory, and their assessment, and they're the experts, is that there's no expectation for any change in any activity or increase in any volcanic hazard at Newberry Volcano associated with the geothermal exploration.
Geothermal energy in its purest form is being used in many places across the globe, but you have to be in the right spot. But now, with enhanced geothermal energy, we may be able to tap into the Earth's natural heat source in more locations than ever before. Later this summer, we're going to be taking a deeper dive into the Newberry Project on a later edition of Shifting Seasons. But for now, it's a promising addition to the renewable energy field.
Now,